Welcome to a world rarely spoken of, where light does not always bring truth, and darkness holds the answers you were never meant to hear. Here we unravel the darkest corners of the mind, challenge old beliefs, and open the door to a reality you never expected. This is not just a video. This is a journey into the shadows of your own soul, the mirror you refuse to look into. If you think you know who you are, you're wrong. Most people live their entire lives without ever meeting themselves. They live behind masks, crafted by society, polished by culture, and glued on by fear. But there's something underneath, something darker, more real, and far more terrifying. This video isn't here to comfort you. It's here to rip off the mask and show you the reflection you've spent your entire life avoiding. Because until you face it, you are nothing but a stranger to yourself. From the moment we're born, we're told who we are. Good boy, good girl, smart, polite, obedient. And we cling to those labels like lifeboats in a storm. But the truth is, you didn't choose your personality. It was shaped for you by trauma, expectations, and fear. You perform. You smile when you're dying inside. You say, "I'm fine," when you're not. And you call that a personality. What if I told you that you is just a survival mechanism? That who you think you are was built to protect you, not to express you? You don't live, you perform. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the part of yourself you reject, repress, and deny. The envy, the rage, the lust, the violence, not because you're evil, but because you're human. And the more you ignore it, the more power it gains. The shadow doesn't die. It waits. It waits in your addictions, in your toxic relationships, in the moments when you lose control and don't know why. You think you're a good person, but what you really are is a ticking time bomb with a smile. You were never taught to know yourself. You were taught to behave, to conform, to fit in. Schools didn't teach you how to face your inner world. They taught you how to hide it. And religion often used shame to force obedience. So now, you flinch at your own reflection, not because it's evil, but because you've been told it shouldn't exist. But here's the truth. Everything you repress becomes your prison. You hide your darkness, but it's what controls you. If you want to be free, you need to stop asking, "How do I become good?" and start asking, "What parts of me am I hiding?" Because growth doesn't come from light. It comes from staring into the dark, without blinking. Not everyone is ready for this, but if you are, the journey starts with one question. Who am I when no one is watching? What happens when you meet the real you? Most people think self-discovery is some feel-good process. They think it's meditation, gratitude journals, and talking to a therapist twice a month. No, real self-discovery is violent. It shatters your illusions, burns your comfort to the ground, and shows you just how fake your life has been. The persona is your mask. It's who you show the world. Calm, rational, normal. But when that mask breaks, you start to see the chaos underneath, the insecurity, the rage, the jealousy, the emptiness. You start to realize you weren't living, you were hiding, and it feels like dying. But that death is the beginning of life. When the mask is gone, you're left with raw truth. You realize you're not kind all the time. You're not patient. You're not honest. And sometimes you're cruel. But you're also capable of love deeper than you ever imagined. Of strength you didn't know existed. Of transformation so real it terrifies you. Because now, finally, you're meeting the whole you, not the edited version. Here's the harsh truth. Most people will never face themselves. They'll drown in distractions, escape into entertainment, hide behind religion or ideology or toxic positivity, because facing yourself hurts. But if you want real power, if you want to walk through this world unshakable, you have to walk through the fire of your own truth. There is no shortcut. There is no savior. There is only you in the mirror, becoming whole, not good, not bad, just real. Everyone wants to be good. No one wants to be whole, because wholeness requires you to face everything, the light and the dark, the sacred and the broken, the human. Society loves moral labels, good versus evil, right versus wrong, clean versus dirty. But reality is far more complex. Sometimes the kindest people have the darkest past. Sometimes the most brutal people are protecting deep wounds. And if you think you're good, ask yourself this: are you good? Or are you just afraid of what happens if you're not? Carl Jung said, "I'd rather be whole than good, because good is a performance. Wholeness is the truth." You don't need to kill your darkness. You need to understand it, accept it, and learn to control it. When you stop fighting yourself, you become dangerous in the best way, because now you're not a puppet of your fear. You're a master of your nature. Here's what most self-help won't tell you. You don't need to be saved. You need to be aware. Aware of your patterns, your fears, your shadow, because awareness is power. And in a world that thrives on unconscious people, your self-awareness becomes your weapon.